I've been in tech for close to 7 years now. And I have to admit, it's been one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. For everyone trying to learn how to code, for everyone trying to get your first job in tech, please understand that it's not easy. And it may not be exactly what you think. So I want to talk about this right now. Number one, keep your work life and your personal life separate. I don't know how to emphasize the importance of this because I have personally seen this affect my life. I have personally seen the consequence of not keeping your personal and work life separate. You will make friends at work, and that's amazing. You will have colleagues that are amazing people, but please remember that your colleagues, especially your boss, is not your friend. I've had situations where I thought someone was a good friend at work, where whenever we travel somewhere for work, whenever we go to these conferences, you name it, we travel the world together and pull up all-nighters or work 12-hour shifts at the booth. And you think that they're your friend, but then later find out that the things you shared with them, they actually shared with my boss, which in result caused me to actually lose a job. And it sucks, and I've seen it. And so I'm not saying every person that you speak with at work is like this, but it's very important to understand that in tech, it is all about dog eats dog, right? Everyone is there for themselves because in tech, you make insane amount of money. I was speaking to my sister-in-law the other day, and she even shared with me, it's crazy how you developers make more money than doctors. I told her about, I had this interview with an AI company, amazing AI company, and they were telling me that they were willing to pay me $400,000 a year to work for them. That they were willing to fly me out to San Francisco 1 week of every month. They'll pay for my food the entire week, my hotel, my flight, and I still get Nevada taxes. I only pay Nevada taxes. That's insane. That's amazing. So then what does that mean? Development make a hell lot of money. We have really good privileges. So even a pharmacist, my sister-in-law, is now trying to learn code because we have insane opportunities. But guess what? Not just a pharmacist understands that. Even the average Joe understands that. So guess what? Because we make insane amount of money, we'll do anything to give us a better edge against our competitor, which is not just at another company, but someone in the same team. And so it's very important. And I'm going to do this here on out on my next tech job, where I keep my personal and my work life separate. I don't share anything too personal anymore. It's just, this is work. You got stuff done. You want to go out to a bar and drink and have some food. Let's do that. But that's it. I'm not sharing anything too personal anymore. It sucks. It really does. But that's just how life in tech is. Secondly, and I want to go over this very quickly because this is something I think everyone should know, but I want to reiterate this, is number two, you never stop learning, and I mean it. My homie Jeremiah Peoples put something on Instagram where he said 20 minutes of Python a day keeps the unemployment away. Meaning, this is something where you have to continuously learn. Not only do you have to put in 40, 50, 60 hours a week of learning to get your first tech job, when you get your first tech job, when you're working 40 hours a week, you also have to continuously put maybe 20, 30 hours a week after hours and on the weekends to learn more code and to improve yourself, especially when you're a junior developer. You will never stop learning. The moment you stop learning is the moment where your job really is on the line. And talking about continuous learning, I'm excited to introduce y'all to Simply Learn's Full Stack Java Developer Program, the perfect launchpad for aspiring full stack developers. Delve into the essentials of full stack Java web development through this program. You'll master everything from React and Angular to Spring Boots and Hibernate, equipping yourself with the skills to build highly scalable web applications. And now what truly sets Simply Learn apart is its emphasis on hands-on practice. With over 20 projects, numerous assessments and tests, plus live interactions with industry expert trainers, you're not just learning, you're applying what you learn. And if that doesn't convince you, consider how Simply Learn even has courses with renowned names like Caltech and IBM, offering a suite of top-notch education that will fit your needs. But don't just take my word for it. The program boasts of unheard ratings on platforms like Course Report and SwitchUp, offering a glimpse into how it has transformed careers over the years. But here's the catch. Space in the upcoming class is limited, so make sure you grab your spot in the next cohort. And for those worried about costs, Simply Learn does provide several financing options to make this invaluable education accessible to everyone. So big shout out to Simply Learn for making this video possible. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to level up your skills as a developer in the link below. This is extremely important. The grass is not always greener on the other side. And I can talk about two things just under this topic. The grass is not always greener on the other side. Number one, when it comes to tech, a lot of people want to work in tech and it's amazing. It is life-changing. But there are also a lot of downsides when it comes to tech. Number one, you see all the layoffs that happen every single month. PlanetScale just had another round of layoffs. Google stock is plummeting and they're ready to lay off a ton more people. A lot of software engineers are losing their jobs right now. It's not easy, but not even just that. Talk about number two, the culture is not always great when you work in tech. More than half the time of the companies I've worked at, the culture has been terrible, to be honest. One job I quit after 2 months because the manager was so bad. One of my more recent jobs that I worked at, culture was terrible. It was great the first 6 months. Then it went downhill after that, where I had the worst anxiety of my life to the moment. It got to the point where I didn't even want to go to sleep, because the moment I go to sleep, it will feel like I immediately wake up and have to work in that toxic culture again. And I had to face that for a while. And I was not happy. I was making a lot of money, but I was not happy. Now, would I be happy making $200K a year, working in a bad, toxic environment, rather than working at McDonald's making hopefully $20,000 a year? Yeah, I'm more happier, of course, but it's not what you always expect it to be. Now, there are companies I worked at where the culture has been amazing. There's one company who offered me just a little less money and I rejected joining them, and they had 0 layoffs, right? They kept everyone, and I'm friends with the manager there. They've kept everyone there, and I'm like, damn, and that culture is amazing. But I joined another company that paid more than them, and only a couple $1,000s more, not a lot. And so I joined a company just for the money, right? And so that brings me to point number two, not just working in tech. When you get in tech, congratulations, you made it. Now it's time to retain and keep that job. Number two, when I say it's not always greener on the other side, it's sometimes it's not always worth leaving your current job for another one just because it pays more. Sometimes it's not worth it. When I really think about it, I love being a developer advocate. But sometimes I wonder, what if I remained as a front-end engineer? Yeah, my last developer role was paying me only $80,000 a year. That's not a lot compared to what I make now, right? It's true. It's not a lot. It's a lot for a lot of people, but compared to what I make now, it isn't. But what if I kept that front-end developer job for 1 more year? What if I tried to get a developer role paying $130,000, $120K a year, rather than becoming a developer advocate making $180K a year? What if I just remain as a developer instead of chasing just whatever paid the most money? For example, I'm a front-end developer, but I joined a back-end company as a front-end developer, as a developer advocate, meaning I had to start all over again, even though I'm very good at front-end development. I did that. Why? For the money. Of course, when someone throws $180,000 in front of your face, you want to take it. But when I look back now, I sometimes wonder, maybe I should have remained as a front-end engineer rather than doing developer relations, developer advocacy. Maybe I should have done that. Now, I love being a developer advocate again. Anthropic was saying, yo, developer advocate here makes almost $500,000 a year. It's a lot. But sometimes I wonder, right? And so when it comes to joining a new job, if you have a job in tech right now, just because another job pays more doesn't mean it's always worth it. I think it's very important that you dig in, that you check with the culture. You message people. Hopefully you know someone that's worked at the company. See how the culture is. And now to give you an additional example, I had a job interview with a company yesterday. And I actually didn't show up. I canceled the interview before it happened. Why? Because the hiring manager, the person who would have been my manager, actually was a manager for one of my friends at a prior company. And I asked her, hey, how's it working under this person? She said it was terrible. This person doesn't teach you anything. They just keep telling you what to do. They don't help you learn. It's not really a good person to work under. And so in result, I'm like, all right, I already know what it feels like to work under someone you don't like. I'm not even going to risk it. So do your research. Now, number 4, as much as I hate this, I have to share it. I was wrong about LeetCode. Big time. What do I mean by this? As a developer, obviously, when you do technical interviews, a lot of companies nowadays use LeetCode to see your technical skills, see where your technical skills are at. And I hated it because I'm like, this doesn't show what I can actually do. When it comes to HTML, CSS, and front-end developer, I'm very good. When it comes to JavaScript, I'm very good at it. When it comes to working with APIs, I'm very good at it. And LeetCode doesn't always demonstrate that. But one thing that I misunderstood about LeetCode is that it can actually make you a better developer. Because LeetCode doesn't just make you a better interviewer, right? A better interviewer for jobs, but actually makes you a better problem solver, which is amazing, which is why I actually like it. And so now, for fun and Python now, I actually do LeetCode for fun because it does make you a better problem solver. It teaches you about algorithms and things that you might potentially attack, problems you might potentially attack at a job. And to be honest, if you are good at LeetCode, it honestly gives you a little bit more confidence that you can attack almost anything because you learned how to become a better problem solver, and who doesn't want that? Last but not least, and I don't know how much to stress this, especially in the times we're living in right now. As a developer, once you get your first tech job, I know as tempting as it is, but please, please live below your means. Please, I beg you, live below your means. The amount of developers I've met over the years in interviews and people asking for mentorships who were making 120, 130, 300, 400K a year and end up buying a house they can't afford, and then they get laid off and they can't pay for the house, then they have to file for bankruptcy, and some of them are homeless and some of them can't get a job because they're so stressed out, facing depression now because of that. Developers make insane amount of money. It's amazing, but tech is not as secure as most people probably think. And I'm sure a lot of people realize it's not as secure as it is, as they know now. When you get that job, especially when you make your first 6 figures, save a lot. Have 6 months. I used to say 3 months worth of savings. Emergency fund is amazing. Nah, 6 months is the way to go. If not, if you could, and I know everyone could, it takes time, it takes longer, 9 to 12 months in the space we're living in. I was literally doing a one-on-one mentorship with someone, and he told me how he's been looking for a job for 9 months and he couldn't get hired. He was about to give up. He didn't give up. He kept pushing through for 2 more weeks, and he got a job. He got a job, and the job ended up actually being the same building he lived in. He lives in an apartment. The building's on the first floor. The company's at the first floor of his own building, so he doesn't even have to travel. But imagine if he gave up. He was considering going back to maybe working for Costco because he couldn't find a tech job. He needed his girlfriend to pay his bills, which is hard. As a man, that's hard. And he ended up getting the job, but it took him 9 months. And he's a very good developer too. And so right now, more than ever, it's important to live below your means. Make sure that you make the right decisions. Make sure that you live wisely, because these times are not like what they used to be.